Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. Welcome to another video, Scary Stories to Sleep To. Before we get started with tonight's spooky story, I just want to give a quick shout out to Heyo Sean for clicking that link down below and buying me a coffee. Thanks for keeping me caffeinated. Alright y'all, hit the lights. Sit back and get ready to join the nightmare. Tonight's story is called My Neighbors Aren't Human, and Soon Neither Will I Be. And it's written by Rose Reese. I would say that I had the most normal life a person could have. Nothing spectacular has ever happened to me, or even around me for that matter. I was just regular. Not that this was a bad thing. I just always wished that something, anything, more exciting than my daily routine would happen. This was the case all the way up until earlier today, when I almost bought my first house straight out of college. Let's just say I got my wish, and it was not what I wanted. I know what you're thinking. How are you going to have a house directly out of college? Well, that's quite a story. These are my last few weeks of school, and I found a job about 2 hours away. It wasn't anything amazingly high paying, but it was quite more than minimum wage. Everything was going great until my best friend, Casey, asked me where I was going to stay once we graduated, because the lease will be up soon. Suddenly, everything started crashing down in my mind. I hadn't thought of this. As much as I love my family, once I graduated, the last thing I would want to do is go back home. Sure, I could have went for an apartment in the city. It sure as hell would have been cheaper. But I didn't want to do that. I was already staying in one with Casey. I just did 6 years in medical school. Getting an apartment didn't seem professional enough for me. I didn't usually hold myself to any high regard, but after suffering for almost a decade, I deserved to treat myself. I immediately got online and searched for houses near my job, but unfortunately, there weren't any nearby. After about an hour of searching, I did find a house about 45 minutes away from my job in a town called Grimmfall. Even I'll admit, the name should have raised more questions than it did, but as I'll come to find out, the name was the least horrific aspect of that town. The house was nice though, and the community surrounding it in the picture also looked nice. I got out of bed and went to Casey's room to run the idea by him. He was still awake, surprisingly. "Hey, I think I found a place," I said enthusiastically. Casey looked up at me with a smile and went to meet me at the door to look at my laptop. He glanced over it for a few seconds and then looked at me. "For that price, I'd say that's a pretty good deal. It's a house though, and still a little on the high end of what you can afford right now. I don't exactly have a place to stay. I don't want to go home either. I could split rent with you again," Casey said. "Oh, only if you want to," he stuttered out. Considering how close we've become over the past few years, this was a no-brainer. I didn't mind staying with Casey again. He was organized, had a good head on his shoulders, and was a genuinely good guy. "Yeah, that'd be great, and it would be a big help for the both of us." "Are you going to transfer jobs or drive almost 2 hours every day?" I asked. "I'm sure it'll all get worked out," he said. I nodded my head in agreement and went back to my room. Once there, I decided to call the number listed on the bottom of the housing information. This is where things started to get weird. Keep in mind, this is quite late at night. I figured no one would pick up, and I'd just leave a voicemail saying that I'm interested and to give me a call back tomorrow. It didn't go like that, though. The phone rang once before static filled my ear, and then there was silence. Hello? I said quietly. I waited about 10 seconds before saying hello again, but there was no answer. Right as I was about to hang up, "Don't go. I'm here," a female voice said on the phone. I don't know why, but I immediately got chills. "Oh, hey. I was wondering if the house is..." "Yes, it's still available," she interrupted in a monotone voice. "Oh, great. Well, my name is Justin Marsden." "Yes, I know," she interrupted again. "Okay, what the hell? How did she..." "You have caller ID, correct?" she asked. I sighed a sigh of relief, but still felt slightly off about this. Something wasn't right with the way she was talking. It was like she knew what to say, but was struggling to say it. I felt as if I was talking to one of those automated machines, like the ones the big companies use so that they can spend as little time as possible actually helping you. Yeah, that. However, the way she talked wasn't the most important thing to me right now. I ignored it and continued. "Yes, I do. Anyways, me and a friend were wondering if we could take a look around the house. Maybe sometime this week, if that's all right with you. We were thinking of renting the place out." Casey came into the doorway and whispered for me to put it on speaker. "Yes. Is it just two?" she asked. "Yeah, just me and him." "That is fine. I will leave the key in the mailbox. I can't make it, but just give a call if you like it," she said, and then the phone hung up. What was that? For one, she just trusted two people in her property without her there. I mean, yeah, I know it's probably empty, but still, we could damage something or do something else stupid. I never bought a house before, but I don't think that's how most first looks usually carry out. Also, why did she pause so many times? It was like she was being told what to say. If she would have never said my name, I for sure would have thought that it was an automated message. "What day did you say? I need to take off work," Casey asked. I didn't say a day. I just said sometime this week. "Yeah? Well, why did she say she couldn't make it, if she didn't even know what day it was?" I looked back and stared at my phone for a few seconds. I don't know. "Maybe this isn't such a good idea after all," I said. "We can still go give it a look at least. Who knows? Maybe she's just busy the whole week," Casey said. Yeah, maybe. I guess. We can drive up there after you get off tomorrow. 3, right?" "Yeah, man, 8 to 3. I'm going to bed. Good night." "Night," I responded. The rest of the night proceeded as every other night my life has gone. Regularly. Today, though, things got even more weird. I decided to look a bit more into the area before we drove out there. What I found shocked me, or rather, what I didn't find. Any searches of the town led me to no results. There was absolutely no information of it. I thought that maybe I read the name wrong and decided to check back on the real estate website where I found it. I scrolled down the list way longer than I had the day prior. I could not find the house. I actually couldn't find anything at all about Grimmfall. The only thing I had was the address on my phone's GPS, and it worked there. But any other signs of this town existing was, well, non-existent. I was creeped out at that point, I won't lie. Casey was going to be home soon, and I couldn't even find proof of this place being real. So I did the only logical thing I could think of, call the number from last night. I picked up the phone and went to my recent calls and spotted the number immediately. I clicked call, and just like last night, it only rung once before static filled the line. But this time, it wasn't silence after it. It was an operator saying that the number has been disconnected. In the span of a few hours, the number had no longer worked. This was crazy. I tried again and the same thing happened. This number is no longer in service. Goodbye, the operator stated before hanging up the phone. What the hell? I started to say before I heard keys wrangling in the door outside. Casey walked in and put down his laptop and other bag. He grabbed his phone and asked me if I was ready to go. It's around that time of the year where it starts to get dark early, and it was understandable that he wanted to get out there as soon as possible. I started to tell him that I couldn't find any information on the house or the town, but I wanted to see for myself what was there. I thought if I told him, we would never have left the house. I know, this is stupid and irresponsible of me, but I felt drawn to this house now. I might be 25, but I had the curiosity of a teenager. That longing sense of adventure was once again taking over. I thought that maybe, for once, something interesting was about to happen for me. The beginning of the ride was mostly quiet. Casey just focused on the road and the GPS we had mounted up, and I sat there wondering why all traces of this town had disappeared overnight. I guess Casey noticed that I wasn't as excited as I were yesterday, and he asked me what was up. I'm fine, I tried to say as calmly and regularly as possible. You feel it too, don't you? I looked over to him and he made eye contact with me for a brief second before turning back to the road. Feel what? That something isn't right, but you want to go see what that something is. I just looked down, fiddling with my fingers. We weren't far away. There was no point in turning around. If Casey felt what I felt the whole time, we were actually going through with this, regardless of how far we were. We drove for about 20 more minutes, and a huge sign on the right side of the road read, "Welcome to Grimmfall." We made it. Upon arriving in the town, I didn't feel as tense as the ride there. It was beautiful. Each house looked as though it was built recently. Each had white picket fences around them. They were rather close together, but coming from an apartment in a well-populated city, this didn't really matter. The bushes were clipped, the grass cut evenly. It looked like those houses you see in every big movie production or TV show. Everything was in top condition. It looked nothing short of amazing. With that said, there was still something alarming about this place. Like I said, it was that time of the year where it starts to get dark fast. But it seems as soon as we passed that sign, it got way darker. Maybe it was just in my head, and I was looking for things that weren't there. I don't know. The GPS began to speak. The destination is on the right. Casey slowed down and turned into the driveway. Arrived at destination. Upon arriving to the house, it was just as beautiful as the picture showed. Nothing seemed immediately wrong with it. It didn't look like it was the scene of a murder or something. It just looked like a regular 2-story house. We got out of the car and Casey said he'd grab the key out of the mailbox, so I went to the porch. As I walked up the steps, the house seemed even more massive. This was amazing. I knew I stood in awe for at least a minute as Casey hadn't come up the steps yet. I turned around to see Casey looking around as if he were confused about where he was. "You okay, man?" I called out to him. He nodded his head and started to walk up to the house. When he got up the steps, he went to the door to unlock it, and we got our first view of the inside. And let me just say, wow. I thought the outside was stunning, but the inside really took the cake. I looked at Casey and his eyes were just as gleaming as mine. It's hard to explain it, but I felt more relaxed than I had felt all day. The outside sort of resembled a classic Victorian style, but the inside glowed with modern-day elegance. White interior, chandeliers, hardwood floors. There were quite a number of stairs, also hardwood, and a small balcony at the top. Downstairs were a bathroom and a bedroom. Upstairs were 3 more bedrooms and a bathroom. There was an attic at the top, an outdoor patio, and a basement. It was quite a sight. We walked around for a good 30 to 40 minutes to examine the size of the rooms and to visualize what we would put where. By the end of the tour, it was completely dark outside. We checked out almost every room. We had only one place left to go, the basement. Walking down there, the fear I had felt all day was starting to creep back. It wasn't anything I could see that made me feel like that. I was just already on edge today, and I've watched enough horror movies to know basements are a no-no. The only reason I went was so that I could finish the tour that I started. Also, in the chance that we did move here, I didn't want to wait until I moved in to find a body or something else horrific. The staircase to the basement was quite a bit longer than the one leading to the second floor. This was a weird design choice, but the rest of the house was so great that I couldn't complain. Once down there, it was like the rest of the house, completely empty. We looked around and made a few jokes about how creepy it was, and we were about to head out when I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I walked over to it and Casey began talking. "Did you notice that there weren't any people outside earlier?" he asked. I very well heard him, but at the same time, I had just picked up the piece of paper and was about to begin to open it. Casey had just turned around to face me and saw that I had it and walked over to me. "What's that?" he asked as he came to a halt. "I don't know. Some kind of a note. It was right under here," I said while pointing at the base of the wall. "What were you saying though?" I asked. "Outside, did you know?" Casey tried to say as my cell phone started to ring. I put the note aside and felt around in my pocket for my phone. As I pulled it out, it fell to the ground. Casey picked it up and looked at me. "It's the owner. I'll answer it," he said. "What?" I exclaimed. Casey never saw the number, and besides, even if he did, that number was disconnected. My mind was processing too much, and again, I got a bad feeling about this. "Put it on speaker," I nervously stuttered out. "I will be. Arriving soon," the voice said as the phone hung up. "How did she know we were here? Did you call her earlier?" Casey asked while looking just as creeped out as me. "Yeah, but when I did, it said that the number was disconnected. I never talked to her," I responded. "How did you know it was the owner?" "You had the contact listed as house owner." "What? What is going on? This is absurd. Whatever the hell was going on here could stay here, but I wasn't going to any longer. "Come on, we're leaving," I told Casey as I grabbed my phone from him and put it in my pocket. Wait, Casey exerted. "It wouldn't be right to have her drive all the way down here and we're not here when she arrives. I'll go up there and meet with her and tell her that we're not interested, he said as he started walking up the stairs. I couldn't shake this bad feeling. I just watched him climb the stairs, and as soon as he made it to the top, the doorbell sounded. She's here. I was about to put the paper back where I found it and head up there, until I noticed something red on it. Was this blood? No way. Please don't let this be blood, I thought to myself. I opened the folded letter and began to read as I heard Casey and the woman exchange pleasantries. To whomever it may concern, I'm going to write this. If I don't make it out alive, maybe this can save whoever moves into this house. I hope you find this letter soon. You won't have much time before they come for you. I'll make this quick. A few weeks ago, I moved into a town. If you're reading this letter, you can guess which one. I figured a move to the suburbs would be much more peaceful than the constant roar of the inner city. Originally, I thought everything was fine for the first week or so. I would assume it was the same for you. But now that I think back, things were always odd. I made the dumb decision to buy the house without coming to view it first. Once I decided to buy the house, I called the lady, and within 2 days I had the keys sent to me in the mail. I signed no paperwork. I didn't even state my address, but I got the key somehow. I figured that maybe I didn't have to sign paperwork until I got there, and she got my current address from some registry that all real estate agents have. So I moved in, the worst mistake of my life. One bad decision led me to this, hiding away in my basement of my house, fearing for my life. If you haven't met the woman yet, you still have time to leave. Get out now. Trust me, in this town, it's better to not have seen anyone at all than to meet any of those things. You may have noticed by now, if you've seen them, these neighbors. They're not normal, are they? Whatever you do, do not show them any emotion. Don't look into their eyes. Don't smile. Don't engage. Keep your distance. But I'm sure if you're reading this down here, then it's already too late. If there's a slim chance that you found this note before they've made contact with you, heed my warning. Get out of this town, now. Like I said, don't talk to them at all. The moment you say one word to them is the moment they take advantage of you and everything you know. I don't know what they are. They can take the shape of anyone. You should know that they get all their information from one word you speak, one glance into their eyes. You must ignore them and get out. Don't trust anyone you see. It could be possible that there are regular people here somewhere, but it's not worth the risk. Those things try hard, but they don't know how to be human. The way they talk, the way they behave, it's clear that they're learning as they go. If you see them, anybody, don't say a word. They don't kill you, I don't think, but they infiltrate, they take over, and there's no telling what they can do once they've accomplished that. I've been hearing whispers upstairs for the past 2 days. They found me. I don't know what will happen to me once I go up there. But if this house is for sale, and you find this note, I've become one of them. I dropped the letter as my body began to lock up, and tears flowed down my face. There is no noise from upstairs. I don't hear Casey. I don't hear the woman. No footsteps, no anything. Just silence. I type this as I'm sitting here in the basement, hiding, fearing for my life. My phone is dying. I'm going to post this everywhere I can. And if you see this, heed my warning. Stay away from Grimmfall. I had always wished that something exciting happened to me, and I got my wish. possibly a fatal